Now people are saying, some say it's rumored on the street that this album is about a breakup. Okay, a lot of people idolize celebrities when they see them on TV and read their interviews. These people are often convinced that their idols are the sweetest and kindest people walking the earth, completely unaware of the awful attitudes that some of these famous celebrities have. While many celebrities are down to earth and lovely, others are rude. Rude and unapproachable. They think they can get away with anything. Is it fame that intoxicates these celebrities? Could it be their immense wealth? Join us as we explore a list of 20 celebrities who are actually jerks in real life. Number 20. Johnny Depp. Everyone's favorite. Johnny Depp's iconic character in the Disney movie Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Jack Sparrow, has made him one of the most beloved actors worldwide. But sometimes, even the most beloved can be jerks. In 1994, he caused $10,000 worth of damage by trashing a hotel room, and he even tried to dodge responsibility by blaming it on an armadillo. Previous managers who have also worked with him revealed that he thinks he no longer needs to learn his lines, which could make working with him a bit challenging. Number 19. Cameron Diaz. Born in San Diego, California, Cameron Diaz is an actress who has starred in multiple Hollywood blockbusters, notably The Mask in 1994, Charlie's Angels in 2000, and, of course, the Shrek series. At one point, she was one of the highest-paid actresses in the world. However, asking Cameron Diaz for an autograph is a decision you might regret. Well, to be honest, there aren't many people clamoring for her autograph right now. But for the people who want to get her autograph, she doesn't just say no. She also goes on to lecture fans about why asking for autographs is a silly task. One of the fans she took the time to lecture described the experience as absolutely horrible. Being rejected, especially by your hero and idol, is one of the most painful experiences a fan can go through, but being scolded on top of that is just awful. And at a Halloween party hosted by her close friend Drew Barrymore, she made a memorable impression. Cameron Diaz spent most of the evening smoking with other guests, but when a couple approached her to ask for a cigarette, the actress flatly refused. The New York Post quoted a source describing her as very rude. Number 18. Sandra Bullock. Contrary to the popular belief of millions of fans around the world that Sandra Bullock is a sweetheart, her off-camera personality doesn't quite match the public image she's cultivated. Of course, when the cameras are rolling, it's perfectly normal for a celebrity to decline an autograph, as it would interfere with their work. However, it crosses the line when they resort to insulting fans. The fallout from this involved a lot of hard work on the part of their PR team, as they attempted to smooth things over with the public, but that doesn't change the reality of what their fans experienced. Number 17. Kirstie Alley. While Kirstie may have come off as sweet and charming in all her interviews, her actions tell a different story. She took to Twitter to criticize her close friend Leah for choosing to leave Scientology and the religion. Now, Kirstie's willingness to go that far with her friend over religious differences says a lot about her. She took to Twitter to criticize her close friend Leah for choosing to leave Scientology and the religion. Now, Kirstie's willingness to go to such lengths with her friend over religious differences says a lot about her. Leah wasn't the only person to earn Kirstie's ire. Maxim Shmerkowski, who was once Kirstie's dance partner on Dancing with the Stars, was also criticized on her Twitter. She also made a series of controversial statements, like linking psychiatric drugs to shooters, and those kinds of behaviors only ended up causing more damage to her career. Number 16. Patrick Dempsey. Patrick Dempsey was once a fan favorite on the medical drama Grey's Anatomy, but he wasn't someone who was pleasant to work with. According to Vanity Fair, Some producers and people who worked with him on the show suggested that he was impossible to work with, while the decision to let Patrick Dempsey go was upsetting to many fans. Dempsey's co-workers must have breathed a sigh of relief that they were no longer subject to his disruptive behavior. It's really sad when your co-workers are happy to not have to work with you anymore. Number 15. Jared Leto. The actor, who portrayed the most iconic villain in 600 comic books before Joaquin Phoenix's Oscar-winning performance, is a man loved by many, including friends, family, and fans. However, he is on this list because of one rude thing he once did where he sent sex toys and used condoms to each of his co-stars as gifts. There have also been allegations of predatory behavior towards underage girls. While allegations of misconduct have continued to circulate for nearly 2 decades, little has come of them. The accusations tend to resurface every few years, but despite that, Leto still has a huge fan base. It's also said that he started a cult that includes his most devoted followers back in 2007. Number 14. Katherine Heigl. A film called The Reader, produced by Harvey Weinstein. One film called Vicky Cristina Barcelona, written and directed by Woody Allen, were box office hits. However, the movie that had everyone talking was 27 Dresses, starring Katherine Heigl. She achieved success in a remarkably short time, but her career would hit a snag because she was too honest. Heigl, not one to hold back, made a name for herself by criticizing her own projects and also speaking harshly about her fellow celebrities. Although spreading gossip and conversations behind people's backs is an unspoken tradition in Hollywood, most stars tend to be very discreet about it, but not Heigl. In a bold move, she once turned down an Emmy nomination, saying that the material she was given to work with wasn't worthy enough to deserve a nomination, and that's why she had her name removed from the list. Her fellow nominees were devastated to see her step away. Heigl also directed a movie in which she prayed while pregnant. She felt that the film was misogynistic and degrading to women. In 2010, she also demanded a huge sum of $3 million to appear in Valentine's Day. This request was outrageous, since the film was a shoot-in. There was not going to be much time. There were also comments from co-stars and producers about how difficult it is to work with Heigl as she demands too much during filming. This can be pretty frustrating for the people who have to work with her. Number 13. Candace Cameron. This can be pretty frustrating for the people who have to work with her. Number 13. Candace Cameron. Candace Cameron has had quite a notable career. Many of her fans remember her as DJ Tanner on Full House. Candace would become a staple in romantic comedies, possibly more than anyone else in the business, except maybe for her co-star Lori Loughlin, whose reputation has had its ups and downs. Cameron is known for her faith and conservative Christian values, as she is quite outspoken about it. She even attributes the binding strength of her relationship to her faith. As a woman of faith, one would expect Candace to be nice in person, but that's not the case, at least not according to Jojo Siwa. In a recent TikTok that went viral, the YouTuber labeled Candace as the rudest celebrity she had ever met. Their encounter took place at the premiere of Fuller House in 2016, when Jojo was just 14 years old. According to people close to Jojo, the rudeness stems from the fact that Candace refused to take a picture with Jojo. Even though Candace insists it wasn't a big deal, turning down a 14-year-old's request to take a picture with you is just not cool. Number 12. Ellen DeGeneres. This is a surprise. Ellen DeGeneres, the host of her show, always came across on her talk show as a kind-hearted woman whose only job was to spread love and positivity all over the world while interviewing a list of celebrities. However, not everything is as it seems at first glance. Everything changed in 2020 when reports started coming out about a toxic workplace culture. More and more people started to speak out about their horrible experiences with Ellen, from the manipulation of Mariah Carey to the revelation of her pregnancy when she wasn't ready, to her ruthless treatment of rising child star Grace and Trance. There are many other stories that show Ellen is much more sinister than she seems. Things got worse for Ellen when comedian T. Porter tweeted about how bad she really is. Then she asked people to reply to her tweets with the craziest and cruelest story they had heard about her, and for every tweet, she would donate $2 to the Los Angeles Food Bank. Porter tweeted about how bad she really is. Then she asked people to reply to her tweets with the craziest and cruelest story they had heard about her, and that for every tweet, she would donate $2 to the Los Angeles Food Bank. A television writer named Benjamin Siemens Vitazendian shared a story. He had heard about Ellen having a sensitive nose, so everyone had to chew gum from a container outside her office before talking to her. They also told a new staff member that every day Ellen picks on someone different to hate. In 2020, BuzzFeed published 2 news stories about what was happening behind the scenes of Ellen's show. Dozens of former employees were interviewed, and they all shared their horrible experiences. The first article revealed how workers face bullying, racism, and fear day in and day out. Employees said that her kind behavior was strictly when the cameras were on, and that it was just for show. Some people were fired for taking medical leave, while others were let go for reporting the mistreatment they were receiving. One was even fired for posting a photo with a co-worker. The second article was even more damning than the first, as it exposed inappropriate sexual conduct and widespread harassment. These accusations led Warner Brothers to launch an internal investigation. Their investigations confirmed some of these accusations and led to the firing of 3 executive producers. Number 11. Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire was the first person to bring the Marvel Comics superhero, Spider-Man, to life. Our friendly neighborhood superhero, Tobey Maguire, crushed it in the role of Spider-Man, and there are still those who argue that he remains the best Spider-Man to this day. However, his treatment of others leaves a lot to be desired. There's a story about him going out one night to an alleged poker circle with friends, including Leonardo DiCaprio and Ben Affleck. He decided to humiliate the waitress who was serving them, so instead of leaving her a tip, he asked her to bark like a seal. "Who wants a fish for $1? The waitress laughed, but Tobey insisted that she do it. He asked her why she wouldn't do it, and also teased her about whether she was too rich or not, and wouldn't do it for Yarmo. He was supposedly rude to Charlize Theron on the set of The Cider House Rules, and during the movie's studio sessions, Miramax stepped in and told him to cool it. Theron also seemed to confirm the news. In an interview with Cinco magazine in 2016, she confirmed that working with Tobey was a tough time. One tough movie. Tobey didn't have a good relationship with his Spider-Man co-star James Franco. Franco even admitted that during "Man," Tobey was mad at him. Number 10. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard is the man who stole the hearts of millions of fans around the world with his portrayal of Lucius Lyon in the Emmy-nominated series. And just like the character he played, he was violent. He has a history of violence that could rival that of his on-screen persona. Since 2000, the actor has had multiple assault charges on his record. In 2013, he took his second wife, Michelle Grant, to court to annul a divorce agreement. There was an incident in 2010 when Grant claimed that he threw her across a hotel room and then took her to the balcony, threatening to throw himself over the railing. In 2001, he physically assaulted his first wife, Lori McComas, because she spoke to him in what he considered a loud tone. This violent behavior is not only reflected in his personal life, but also in his workplace. In 2008, it was announced that he would not be reprising his role as Robert Downey Jr.'s sidekick in the Iron Man sequel. He insisted that he was fired for refusing to accept a significant pay cut, and instead of reflecting on it, he blamed his former co-star Robert Downey. It's crazy to try to blame Robert Downey for his firing, since it was Robert Downey Jr. who advocated for equal pay for everyone on the set of The Avengers. Number 9. Russell Crowe. There are few actors in the world with an ego as big as Crowe's. He once told director William Nicholson that his lines were using garbage, but since he was the best actor in the world, he could make garbage sound good. However, Crowe is no stranger to making strange statements about his fellow actors. It's said that he once called George Clooney a Frank Sinatra impersonator, although Clooney saw the funny side of it and responded with a humorous note telling him that the only ones who benefit when two celebrities fight are the tabloids. He's also no stranger to violent behavior. Between 1999 and 2005, he was involved in 4 altercations, which earned him a bad reputation. He is also no stranger to violent behavior. Between 1999 and 2005, he was involved in 4 altercations, which earned him a bad reputation. In 1999, Crowe was involved in an altercation with a woman at the Plantation Hotel in Coves Harbor. Later, in 2002, Crowe was involved in a fight with businessman Eric Watson Spitozandian inside the London branch of Zuma, a chain of Japanese restaurants. The fight was interrupted by English actor Ross Kemp. Also in 2005, Crowe was arrested and charged with second-degree assault by the New York Police Department after he threw a phone at the concierge of the Mercer Hotel, who had refused to help him make a call. When the system didn't work from Crowe's room, the concierge got injured and had to be treated for a facial laceration. Not everyone. During the filming of the Oscar-nominated movie Gladiator, Crowe would make calls at 3 in the morning to the director, just to unleash a barrage of screams, threats, insults, and even promises to kill him with his own hands. The reason he felt that DreamWorks was underestimating one of its assistants while standing up for his workers is quite admirable. Throwing death threats isn't exactly the most effective way. Number 8. Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill may make a living making people laugh, but don't try to make him laugh. It could end very badly for you. His sense of humor isn't always spot on. In an interview, when the interviewer jokingly called him Seth, Jonah's response was icy, and for the rest of the interview, he gave them very little to work with, making it almost impossible for them to continue the conversation. Someone felt hurt and decided to sulk about it. People who have worked with him have also pointed out how difficult he can be to deal with. Someone felt hurt and in the process decided to start sulking about it. People who have worked with him have also pointed out how difficult he can be to deal with. One example is his interview with Howard Stern, in which the arrogance of both men was highlighted, and yet Jonah managed to put Howard in an uncomfortable position. Also in July 2023, Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend, Sarah Brady, spoke openly about the emotional abuse she suffered at his hands. Sarah shared Instagram screenshots of Hill's texts demanding she respect his boundaries. No swimsuit photos, no photos he found sexual, no. Some of these boundaries included not posting any more swimsuit photos, knowing full well that she's a professional surfer, not posting any more photos than he deemed sexual, not surfing with other guys, and not having friendships with Melendez or with women he considered to be in unstable situations. She said that posting those screenshots was meant to serve as a warning to all the girls, urging them to leave if their partners behave that way. Number 7. Ben Stiller. Stiller may have us baffled on the big screen, but in real life, he seems to have a less amiable demeanor. This has become a trend in Hollywood, where you have a cheerful character on screen, but off the big screen, we see a very different person. There have been multiple reports about how entitled he is, and he once had a meltdown because his Diet Coke was missing 2 ice cubes. At other times, he makes his assistant stand guard at his parking spot to make sure no one else can park there except him. You'd think that someone as rich and famous as him would come up with a more efficient system that doesn't require someone to stand in a parking lot. Also, according to a Reddit user who worked with Stiller on the set of Tropic Thunder, he wasn't the friendliest with everyone. The user recounted how they saw Stiller fire an employee just because there wasn't enough sugar in his coffee. First a breakdown over a Diet Coke, and now firing someone while having a coffee. The guy must have some pretty strong opinions about his drinks. Number 6. Tom Cruise. Handsome, daring, Mission Impossible. All of these are thoughts that go through people's minds when they hear the name Tom Cruise, a man who has amazed the world through the 8 installments of the Mission Impossible movies. However, Cruise was known for setting some peculiar rules with Katie Holmes during and after their marriage. She was forbidden from talking to other men, she couldn't travel with her daughter, and she was even banned from speaking to Cruise's other ex, Nicole Kidman. He also strongly believes in Scientology, and some think that's the reason he's reportedly estranged from his teenage daughter, who is being raised by Katie Holmes. In 1999, he appeared and revealed that he and his co-pilot didn't have enough oxygen. They cut off the oxygen to other passengers to have enough air. He revealed that he and his co-pilot were flying at high altitude when they realized they did not have enough oxygen for the flight. Instead of coming up with a strategy to remedy the situation, he revealed that he and his co-pilot simply cut off oxygen to the other passengers on the plane so that they would have enough air to continue their flights. While he was telling this story, he was laughing so hard that he had trouble getting the words out. Number 5. Reese Witherspoon. Reese has built her image as America's sweetheart, but lately, that image is being questioned. It seems that her charming public persona might just be that, an image. However, that image is being questioned lately. It would seem that her charming public image might be all that an image is. Accusations of self-entitlement arose when she and her husband were pulled over for weaving and swerving out of traffic lanes instead of cooperating. Reports suggest that she asserted her status by asking the officers involved if they knew her name and how they were about to find out who she was. This incident led to her arrest for disorderly conduct. Sources at Star magazine also paint a less than flattering picture of her, describing her as anything but sweet. The staff apparently tiptoed around her, so as not to disturb her, and tried hard to meet her demands. It was also reported that she refused to take off her sunglasses, creating an atmosphere where eye contact was strictly off limits. For some fans, seeing Reese from this perspective must be disheartening. For many, this is far from the image of America's sweetheart they had in mind, so hopefully, this was just a one-time thing. Number 4. William Shatner. That they had in mind, so hopefully, this was just a one-time thing. Number 4. William Shatner. William Shatner's past on Comedy Central was notable, as it allowed many stars to vent their pent-up frustrations on him. It turns out that his behavior on the Star Trek set didn't sit well with his co-stars, which led them to develop a dislike for him. Plus, he didn't attend Leonard Nimoy's funeral, which earned him the nickname Captain Idiot among his castmates. It's not the catchiest nickname, but at least it gets the message across pretty well. His attitude didn't change at conventions either. But this time, it wasn't just his co-stars who witnessed his behavior. The fans of the show were there too. He was also jealous of the popularity of Nimoy's character, Spock. He constantly yelled at a co-star every time she tried to answer a question. Seeing these things, it's hard to feel any kind of respect for this guy. Moreover, his bad behavior seems to be driving away the few fans brave enough to stick around. Number 3. Charlie Sheen. Known for his fun-loving, alcoholic role as Charlie Harper in 2.5 Men Die 2000, was the highest-paid actor in the world at the time. When he started behaving erratically in real life, he was fired from the show, And not only did he publicly insult the show's producers, but he also claimed to have tiger blood running through his veins. In 2006, Sheen's then wife, Denise Richards, was granted a restraining order in May. The order required Sheen to stay at least 300 feet away from Richards and their daughters, Lola, who was 10 months old at the time, and Sam, who was 2 years old. Sheen couldn't have access to his kids unless it was for supervised visits. Court documents indicate that Richards claimed he had pushed her, assaulted her, and threatened to kill her. Also, on Christmas morning in 2009, she was arrested in Aspen, Colorado. His wife at the time, Brooke Mueller, claimed he held a knife to her throat and threatened to kill her. Although Sheen denied putting a knife to her throat, he admitted that they slapped each other on the arm during that morning's altercation. Christina Aguilera's number 2. From music to film, she has effortlessly navigated various facets of Hollywood, earning herself a dedicated fan base. Unfortunately, like many in Hollywood, she has also fallen into the trap of displaying idiot behavior. While it's a disappointing twist, the intertwining of fame and unpleasant behavior isn't entirely unexpected. It's such a tempting lure, no matter how much we wish it weren't. In the early 2000s, Christina drew attention with some very blunt comments about musicians like Mariah Carey, Britney Spears, and Pink. However, her less-than-stellar behavior didn't stop there. In the early 2000s, Christina garnered attention with some very direct comments about musicians such as Mariah Carey, Britney Spears, and House. However, his less-than-stellar behavior didn't end there. Reports from the pop diva era suggest that she has been cold and standoffish, showing no distinction between interviewers and fans on set. Rumors also arose when he announced his departure as a judge at Beauty's, with accusations that several of his fellow judges could not bear. Working with her and at the same time working with Christina is bad, but working for her is even worse. A source told the tabloid that she is incredibly rude and demanding and treats her household staff well. She also insists that her staff be available 24/7. Number 1, Mike Myers. While you might fondly remember him as Austin Powers, it turns out that Mike Myers isn't as great as his iconic character. His controlling and narcissistic behavior is quite concerning. He once fired someone for looking him in the eye. His controlling and narcissistic behavior is very worrying. He once fired someone for looking him in the eye. He also refused to sign autographs for a company that produced toys based on his character. Myers would later request that all toys be sent to him for signature, but would not cover the shipping costs. Myers is also known for insisting that the entire Shrek series be redone, simply because he suddenly decided that the character should have a Scottish accent. While he may have been right, as it's now impossible to imagine Shrek without an accent, it still seems a bit extreme to jeopardize the entire production with such a major overhaul. For some time now, Hollywood has avoided casting him because of his reputation. Many who have worked directly with him have described him as unbearable. That seems to be the theme surrounding major Hollywood stars. Once, he walked off a production citing an issue with the script, a script he had co-written himself. Because of this, Universal sued him for $5 million, and then Imagine Entertainment would sue him for $30 million. His counterclaim, against everyone,